Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already made your way to your seat, please do so as we will begin shortly. As you take your seats, please enjoy the following video on Imprints of Honor and what this club represents.
There we go. Now we are. Okay. Here we go. All right. For those who are new to Imprints of Honor, it was founded in Arizona in 2004 as a class project, and it grew into an after-school club and became a nonprofit in 2009. Last fall, the organization changed its name to Imprints of Honor, the mission of connecting students with veterans to honor veterans, preserve Americans' heritage, and develop future leaders continues just as it always has. The new name helps to highlight the long-term impact of the program for students and veterans, their families, and the greater community. Veterans' legacies and their incredible impact have been shared throughout the school year, leaving imprints of honor on the character of students. We know that their service stories will continue to inspire as well into the future, and that you too will be impacted as you learn more about your loved ones' bravery, perseverance, and leadership. Today's event is the culminating activity of this club, when students present their collection of veterans' legacies in the student publication, Since You Ask, and honor their veterans with this book signing. This year, students in Arizona, Florida, and Tennessee preserved the service stories of 245 veterans and Gold Star families in 3 editions of the 21st volume of Since You Ask. We hope your book becomes an heirloom for your family and for generations to come. Imprints of Honor reached a special milestone this year. The 3,000 interview, the names of this year's interviewed veterans who entered into a random drawing to determine who would be an honorary 3,000 interview. Here's a short video celebration featuring the veteran, student, and teacher advisor.
club here at Ironwood Ridge High School. And she had the honor of interviewing her dad, my husband, for that year's edition. And then the following year, Mr. Dickinson went to another school and asked if I would like to be the advisor. So I jumped in, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. So I definitely feel like I have a unique experience over the last decade of being the educator involved, but being a parent and having all 3 kids participate. So we could not have had 2 more perfect people represent the 3000th interview. You're talking about the best of both worlds. So to have somebody like Bobby in Joy's corner, being that mentor, being that encourager, I believe in you, you can do this. It's just incredibly special, and for Joy to honor Bobby in such a way that to really understand what his service was about, because it's one thing to be the teacher in front and always guiding, it's quite another to open yourself up and talk about what your service has meant to you and really reflect.
So my first tour was Iraq. Iraq was first, it was 2003, and like any soldier, we didn't know what to expect. 12 months in Iraq, and my job, even though I was a chemical officer, my job was to protect a entry control point. And what that control point would allow an Iraqi citizen to come on our base and do work. But each person would check, because each person was a potential threat. And then one day, I was a lieutenant. My captain says, "Hey, Bobby, you're really stressing out. You need to go to Baghdad, maybe go to the bazaar. The bazaar is a place where you can buy different things. And why don't you just go to Baghdad and just relax?" I said, "I don't want to leave my soldier. I really don't want to leave my soldier." "No, I'm insisting that you go." So we got in a Humvee, and I was just a passenger, and we had our first IED. Boom, and one of our drivers just got hit right here. It cut him open, and he died on the spot. And I tell you, in that point, it made me realize Iraq is real now. Got back to the base, had to do some counseling, and March, we trained the locals. One of the locals ambushed us, killed 5 of my soldiers, shot them in the back. Came back home from Iraq. 6 months later, I'm in Afghanistan. Whole different mission. Afghanistan, my mission was to train the locals, the police force, and the army. And that mission is really tough, because they went to live with them, sleep with them, eat with them, up in the mountains. And there was like 100 Afghan soldiers, on about 10 of us. So we were embedded with those guys. Embedded, and the mission was to teach them how to be soldiers. So we were going on a mission, and the Afghan soldiers would get killed, American soldiers would get killed, and so that mission was really tough. And one of my friends, Sergeant Walls, Johnny Walls, I was about right here, and Johnny was right here, and a bullet missed me, he hit him right in his back and killed him. And that was in 2007. So that really messed me up. That messed me up really bad. That Afghanistan really, really messed me up. And then, when something like that happened, you just, God, why? Why Johnny, not me? What made me special? Johnny got kids, I have kids. Why you take his life, not my life? So you get that survival guilt. It's hard to tell my story to a kid, but Joy's unique. Joy's not a regular kid. I knew Joy would do a good job with it, because Joy's very detailed. And she made me give her, she won't allow me to give her the lazy version. She made me go to detail, and she made me open some doors that I couldn't close. I know she's gonna be one of our bright leaders. She's gonna be really good for this country. And so that make old guys like me to proud to be American.
I feel like it's really important to preserve and remember the veterans and honor their stories, as they have sacrificed a lot for this country.
So one of the quotes that Bobby Edwards stated in his interview was, "Always try and you will never fail." I have applied that to my life recently for applying to service academies. Even though there was a slim chance, I have already gotten my nominations for 3 academies, which is West Point, Air Force Academy, and Merchant Marines. And I found that as a chance for me to try and pursue my dream of becoming an aerospace engineer in the military. It takes like a whole bunch of people to make the world a better place. But I feel like step by step, I want to make yesterday better, and then like improve myself, that I'm a better person than I was yesterday. So just like keep stepping forward for that very little step and see where that gets me.
When it comes to publishing and making these stories happen, the best part is when I say nothing. It's when our officers look at their peers and look at the veterans, knowing we did what we were supposed to do. And it didn't need me. It didn't need me to say the due date is. They feel it because that's what they owe the veteran. So it doesn't get better than who we've chosen to represent what this program is. They go on to do amazing things out in their communities, and it all with the idea that service is part of what they do. If it's not in their job, they make it part of their daily life.
Today, we're here to celebrate the veterans interviewed by Oneida High School students. You'll have a chance to meet these incredible veterans and thank them for their service and sacrifice during the book signing, which will be held after the following program. Will you please stand as the Imprints of Honor member Will Bishop offers the invocation.
Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we gather here today with grateful hearts to honor the lives and stories of the brave men and women who have served in our nation. Thank you for the opportunity for us to share their voices through this book, a tribute to their courage, sacrifice, and unwavering commitment to freedom. God, please bless every veteran represented in these pages, and may their words inspire remembrance, respect, and a deeper understanding of what it means to serve. We pray that this book becomes more than just a collection of stories, but a legacy to honor future generations. And Lord, we ask for you to look over to those affected by the recent storms in Kentucky. And Lord, we pray that you protect and cherish these veterans that put their life on the line so we may worship you. Amen.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and for the singing of the National Anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' bright glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night
Calavig, and I am the Imprints of Honor Chapter President here at Oneida High School. Imprints of Honor members are fortunate to have met and learned from many incredible servicemen and women. We are grateful for them for sharing their stories with us, and we are pleased that their stories can now live on forever in our national archives and in our memories. Today, we also remember those who are no longer with us and whose stories may or may not have been told. You may have noticed the special table as you entered the room today. This table is reserved to honor our missing men and women. Set for 6, the empty chairs represent Americans who were or are missing from each of the services: Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard, and civilians, all with us in spirit. Let me explain the meaning of this table, and then join me in a moment of silence. The table is round to show our everlasting concern. The cloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their motives when answering the call to serve. The single red rose reminds us of the lives of these Americans and their loved ones and friends who keep the faith while seeking answers. The yellow ribbon symbolizes our continued uncertainty, hope for their return, and determination to account for them and bring them home. A slice of lemon reminds us of their bitter fate, captured and missing in a foreign land. A pinch of salt symbolizes the tears of our missing and their families, who long for answers after decades of uncertainty. The lighted candle reflects our hope for their return, dead or alive. The Bible represents the strength gained through faith to sustain us and those lost from our country, founded as one nation under God. The glass is inverted to symbolize their inability to share a toast. The chairs are empty, they are missing.
Over the past 21 years, Imprints of Honor has interviewed veterans from all military branches and conflicts. We would like to recognize veterans by the conflicts in which they served. As we announce each conflict, please stand and applause and then be seated.
World War II veterans.
Korean War veterans.
Vietnam War veterans.
Cold War veterans. Cold War veterans.
And veterans from both Gulf Wars, Afghanistan, and the War on Terror.
Today is not only our much anticipated book launch, but it is Armed Forces Day. This day seeks to honor all current members of the U.S. Armed Forces. Therefore, if you are active duty, would you please stand to be recognized?
Let's give one last round of applause for our brave men and women in the armed forces. Thank you for your service.
Our veteran speaker for today's event is Mr. Bram Shoemaker. Bram Shoemaker was included in our first set of published stories and featured in the 20th edition of Since You Asked. Bram Shoemaker was born on January 28, 1946 in Oneida, Tennessee, to a large family of 6 sisters and 1 brother. He enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1968 in order to serve his country in the Vietnam War. After his service, Bram later served on the Oneida School Board. We are honored to have Mr. Bram speak with us today. Please welcome Bram Shoemaker to the stage.
Thank you, Will. Thank you very much, and I'm really honored to be here today. I'd like to give you a rundown on what my military service was. I graduated from Georgetown College in August of 1968 and entered active duty, the United States Army, in 1968. Had my basic and AIT training in Fort Dix, New Jersey. During the winter, it was kind of cold up there. In January, I entered the Officer Candidates course at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, which is an engineering school. When I graduated there in June of 1969, I was assigned as a platoon leader in the 197th Infantry in Fort Benning, Georgia. During that time at Fort Benning, Georgia, I also had the opportunity to test night vision equipment in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, which was a new thing back then. In March, I think, of 1970, I got my notice that I was going to be sent to Vietnam. We kind of knew that was going to happen, so it was not something that I was not expecting, but I was hoping that I didn't have to go. So I reported to duty in June 1970 to the transfer station in Phu Bai, Vietnam. Now that's I Corps. Vietnam, you have I Corps up next to North Vietnam, 2 Corps, 3 Corps, and down Saigon you've got 4 Corps. The night I got there, we had a rocket attack. Now that seems like it might be something major, but it wasn't. Somebody told me what the sound was. I didn't know what was going on. But anyway, I spent most of my time in the field in Vietnam up until January 1971. In 1971, we had the last major deployment by U.S. military personnel in Vietnam at that time. That was the last one. And I don't think it was something like somewhere between 11 or 12,000 U.S. troops in support of the Army of South Vietnam going into Laos. I have this book that tells something about that. My wife says, what does that have to do with what's happening today? I said, absolutely nothing. But what it does have to do with these people that I served with for 60 days out in the field in that conflict. I'm going to give you some names. One is Sergeant Darrell Hogan. Another one, James T. Otis, Bill McCrone, Dean Claus, Sergeant Chaffee, Freelong, DeLuna, Rick Nelson. These were people that were under my command while I was building the airstrip at Quezon. Still doesn't mean much. What it does mean is that none of them are listed in this book. Not a mention of this group of people that actually did the majority of the work to build the airstrip and maintain it in the road while we were in that operation. So when I take these line people and see that they are not mentioned any place, what I would like to do, if I could, and I can't, is to sit them down and say, have these students interview you and see what it was really like to be in an operation of that scope. They would tell you that, other than they didn't want to be there, things that you had to do to survive, not the war part of it, but just the living part of it, when you at Quezon. The question is, where did you get your water? Where did you get your food? How did you get clean clothes? How did you shave? How did you brush your teeth? And all that, those people had to come up with, and they made arrangements for all of us. One, the Sergeant Chaffee, who ended up a sergeant major, he was our mess person. So we were the only group of U.S. Army people there that had their own mess hall. So everybody was eating K rations or C rations, whatever they call them. So what this, to me, reflects on what you do in this, this Legion of Honor, in interviewing veterans who were in the field and had to put up not only with the combat part of it, with the rockets and the artillery, but had to work in those situations and be able to tell you, students, other veterans, what it was like to sit there and go through that kind of stuff. And I think, Fred, you're an Air Force. I was reading the statistics on our runway at Quezon. They said we landed 40 C-130s a day. We didn't have a runway that would handle C-40s 40 a day, maybe 20 or 21, but we worked on it every night. So anyway, the program that you all, and Melissa and Stephanie have done, is this the third year? It has kind of opened my eyes to certain things on how I talk to veterans that I go to reunions with. The first reunion that I talked to them about was in September of last year, or it might have been the year before last. This is all officers. Guys that some of them had made the career out of the military. But there's not a one of them that had any idea that this existed. But I was amazed at how impressed they were with this program and what it did to get that information to other veterans that have been in a situation where they worked all these weeks and never got recognized one time. My next reunion was the next month in October. I went to Branson, Missouri to a reunion for the guys that I was in Vietnam with. And I talked to them, I said, what do you all know about these programs? Not just this program, but any program that deals with veterans. There was not a one out of the 35 there that knew anything about what was happening and how people were recognizing veterans. So anyway, I want to commend our school, Oneida, for this happening, and the fact that we're the first in Tennessee and still the only one in Tennessee, right? And I know that an organization like this, it takes a lot of work. Students, I want to commend you on you all being part of this. I was fortunate enough to be part of the group. I think Will was on that group that was interviewed, and really, for me, as a veteran, in something like this that never got recognized, it really meant something. So I thank you all for what you've done. So, again, students, sponsors, and Oneida School System, I would, as a veteran, like to thank you for all you've done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker. We now want to thank the students and advisors who interviewed and archived 5 veteran stories in the edition of Since You Asked, Volume 21. In keeping with Imprints of Honor mission to connect students with veterans, we are pleased to recognize our students in this segment of the program. These young scholars have worked hard to uphold the values of patriotism in writing their veteran stories. We now want to hear from members as they help introduce their featured veteran and present each veteran with his copy of the book.
Hello, my name is Will Bishop, and I'm a 3-year member and one of the first students to join Tennessee's only Imprints of Honor chapter. I am 18 years old, and I've always been very interested in the military. With both of my grandfathers serving in Vietnam and my brother in the Air National Guard, patriotism has been in my soul. I saw Imprints of Honor as a great opportunity for me to learn and to celebrate the service provided by our veterans. I have enjoyed the opportunity Imprints of Honor provides by interviewing veterans and helping to get their stories into the public eye to ensure that they have the recognition that they deserve. I had the honor of writing Mr. Gary Cross's story. His grandson Jackson led the interview. Gary Martin Cross was born on March 31st, 1951 in Oneida, Tennessee. He was drafted into the Army in 1972 to become a military police officer and went on to serve in Fort Knox, Kentucky, Fort Gordon, Georgia, and the USA MP Detachment in Seoul, South Korea. He is honored to have served in the armed forces and has learned much from his time. He currently resides in Oneida, Tennessee with his wife, Deborah Cross. It was an honor to write your story.
All right, Gigi, I don't know if you can hear me, but thank you for your service and thanks for being a good Gigi.
Hello, my name is Braylee Grace England. As a student at Oneida High School with a deep respect for those who served in the military, I decided to join the Imprints of Honor Club to connect with others who share a mindset to honor veterans and support one another. Growing up with a great-grandpa who was in the military, I was also inspired by the brave sacrifices and wanted to find a way to learn not only about their experiences, but their effects after as well. Joining the Imprints of Honor was one of the best decisions I had made. In fact, hearing all the unique stories of the veterans and knowing their points of views on historical topics compelled me to learn more about the veterans. The veteran I had honored interviewing was Fred Hubert. Hubert was born on May 26, 1950 in Red Wing, Minnesota, and his grandfather served in the Army. He enlisted into the Air Force on January 22, 1969 in order to not be drafted and went on to serve in Vietnam. Even though he faced many dangers, he was able to withstand them and currently resides in Oneida, Tennessee, where he enjoys flying his personal plane and spending time with his wife. Thank you for your service.
Hello, my name is Riley Boutwell. I joined the Imprints of Honor early this year because of the opportunity it presented. Growing up in a military-oriented family with numerous service members, the military has always been an undercurrent in my life. I was always exposed to military life and had embedded patriotism within me, so growing up I thought it was prevalent in everyone. However, as I've gotten older, I naturally began to pay attention to the world around me. Realizing the amount of sacrifice it had taken for me to live my life how I have and do the things I choose is a blessing I am so grateful for. This was even more apparent when I joined the Imprints of Honor Club. This club allowed me to serve those who had made the ultimate sacrifice for my freedom, and I can't thank them enough. The veteran who I interviewed is one I'm privileged enough to call my uncle. Growing up, I've always known that he had served, but I never knew to what extent. Today, however, I'm proud to say that through this experience, I've developed a much deeper understanding. Keith Campbell is a Pennsylvania-born and Tennessee-raised member of the 82nd Airborne Division and Special Forces. Growing up, Campbell learned the value of hard work and dedication from his parents, and his time in the service was no different. He traveled to over 30 countries, serving in Afghanistan, Albania, Colombia, Germany, Kosovo, Panama, Syria, and Ukraine. Campbell loved the time he spent in the military, and he still keeps the values and beliefs he obtained all those years ago. The military made him want to be a better person, and he still regards his time in the military as one of the best times in his life.
On behalf of his daughter Alexa, who could not be here today, I would now like to introduce Travis Morin. Morin was born on April 6, 1984, in Nebraska to Air Force parents. He enlisted into the Army in 2002 to get a job after high school and went on to serve in Afghanistan and Texas. He was a medium vehicle mechanic during his time in the military, and he currently resides with his family in Tennessee and works as a carpenter.
Unfortunately, Bladen King could not be here, so I will honor Dr. Cross. Bladen interviewed and wrote the story for Dr. Danny Cross. Dr. Cross is such an amazing part of our community and embodies what it truly means to be a servant. As a member of our Board of Education, he continues to serve not only the kids at Oneida, but the community even further. He is one of the most caring and honest people that I have had the honor to meet. But more than that, he wants to continue helping and serving people. This commitment to the people he looks after not only speaks to his character, but additionally speaks to his dedication to his faith. Without a man like Dr. Cross around, the world would be a darker place. Dr. Cross could not be with us today, however, we still want to honor him. Danny Wayne Cross was born on January 26, 1947, in Fairview, Tennessee. He had an insatiable desire for knowledge, so he went to college. While he was there, he was required to do ROTC for his first 2 years, but he continued to do it during his junior and senior years because of financial reasons and because he had a romance with the military. After he graduated, he was commissioned into the Army in 1967 to serve the very nation that made him who he was. Danny went on to serve in Saigon and Long Binh, Vietnam, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Fort Gordon, Georgia, Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, and Lexington Bluegrass Army Depot, Kentucky. He is an inspiration and an example of what every man and woman should live up to. Words cannot describe the amount of respect, knowledge, and wisdom that Danny displays. He currently resides in Scott County, Tennessee with his wife Sharon, and he enjoys just being able to be part of the community. Thank you, Dr. Danny Cross.
This comes to the end of our program today, but I'd like to thank our parents and school administrators for supporting this program, and we'd like to thank Dr. Nancy Williams and Sandra Nixon, who actually brought the program to Oneida and helped us develop it, and Ms. Duncan has poured her heart into it over the past few years too, making sure that we honor our veterans and our students understand. And I would like to give a round of applause to these the students, because they have spent, it's a year-long project and they work hard. They were here yesterday decorating, they'll be here after this, taking everything down, helping us, but they have worked very hard throughout this year to make this book happen. So let's give them a round of applause. We have 5 seniors who participated this year in the program. They're all about to head off to college and do different things, different places. So will our seniors that are here please stand? We've got Will Bishop and Miss Elizabeth Calabig here today. I'd like to give them a gift. We also have Bladen King, Alexa Mooring, and Eli Sewell. They were not able to be here. Some of them are working, or I think Alexa's on a trip. But thank you all for your service. We also have, this year, the students, the seniors could enter a contest, a scholarships contest, if they had written 2 stories and participated both years. And Will Bishop and Bladen King both submitted stories. And this goes to a group in Arizona. And I think one person was supposed to win the overall scholarship out of all of Tennessee, Florida, and Arizona. But they decided that there were 5 stories that were so good, and out of those 5, it was our 2, Bladen and Will. So they both received a $1,000 scholarship from the Imprints of Honor. I'd like to give that to Will now. Thank you all. I'd like to say, being part of this program, I think Stephanie says, it's not work because we enjoy it so much. Like, it is a true honor to get to do the program and to work with the students and with the veterans. And I think that connection of, Ron, you summed it up well, like the younger generation is asking those questions. How did you get your clothes clean? It's a true conversation. The phones get put away, and it's a direct conversation of asking questions about what it is like to be a veteran. And that's the name of the book, Since You Ask. And it is an honor to have the veterans here, and we want to continue doing this program, and we look forward to interviewing more veterans and growing the club and hopefully making more clubs in Tennessee. Let me make sure I'm saying anything. Oh, we do have shirts for sale and books for sale back there. This is our club shirt that we chose this year, and we have books from this year and from last year. They're for sale back there in the back. Oh yes. After the event, we'll have the veterans come over here at the table. We'd also like to thank our school store, Miss Tina Buttrum's back there. They have made these nice wooden dishes with the veteran's name and service, and then we've done the flags of the veteran. But each veteran can go over here and sit at the table, and we will interview, or you can get a book and sign each book. The veterans can sign the books as you go by. And if you want to purchase a book, they're back there, and you can bring it up here to the signing table also. And I would like to also invite you to the VFW's Memorial Day program on Monday, May 26th at 11, if you would like to come and honor veterans on that day also. So I think we're good. Yep, I think we're good. So thank you all for coming, and enjoy some more refreshments, and we'll do the book signing now at this time. So thank you.